Good morning, friends. Myself, Manoj Kumar Chitale, Assistant Professor, Hira Sugar Institute of Technology, Nidsoshi. Today, in this session, we people are going to discuss about linear block codes. Okay. Almost all block codes used today belongs to a subset called a linear block codes. Okay, linear block code is a code in which exclusive OR of a two valid code words creates another valid code word. Here we people are going to discuss a simple parity check code, a two-dimensional parity check code, a CRC, and after that we are going to at the end we are going to discuss the checksum here. In a linear block code, the exclusive OR of any two valid code words creates another valid code word here. Let us see if two codes that are already defined in the previous table, okay, belongs to some class of a linear block code, and we people are trying to check whether they are producing a valid code word or not whenever we perform a XOR operation. In this particular table, okay, here we have a code words that is a 0 0 0, a 0 1 1. Okay, we have a 0 is coded as a 0 0 0, 0 1 is coded as a 0 1 1, 1 0 becomes a 1 0 1, 1 1 its code word is a 1 1 0. If you XOR these two terms, that is a 0 1 1 1 0 1, okay, on that case it creates another valid code word here. Okay, the linear block code, because the result of XORing any code word with any other code word is a valid code word. Okay, we have already gone through this particular example, that is the second word and the third word creates the fourth one. In our first code, the number of ones in the non-zero code word are 2 2 2. So the minimum Hamming distance is a d minimum equal to 2 here. In our second code, the number of ones in the non-zero code words are 3 and 4. So this particular coding scheme has the Hamming distance, that is the minimum Hamming distance as a 3 here. The next method, we have a simple parity check here. Okay, here we have a message m. That message is divided into a k-bit data units, and here we people are generating code word for those data words. Okay, the data words here in this particular a simple parity check, we have a data words of a k bits, and we people are generating a n bit code words where n is equal to a k plus 1. Okay, in the sense we people are adding one extra bit as a we are adding one extra bit to the data word, so that we can create the code word for that particular data word here. That one extra bit is called as the parity bit here. And when it comes to this particular block coding mechanism, this particular scheme has the minimum Hamming distance of a 2 here. Okay. This is the table how we people are adding this one extra bit. Okay, that is, I need to build some sort of a relationship among these data words and a redundant bit, and here we people are selecting this one redundant bit in such a way that the number of ones in the code word should and must be even here. And in such manner I need to select this parity bit here. We have all 4 bits are 0 here. I am computing this parity bit to a 0 here. Okay. Here the next one is we have the value, the bits are 0 0 0 1, and we people are computing a parity bit as a 1 here. Okay, here we people are using some sort of a mathematical expression so that we can compute that parity bit here. Okay, we will go through this encoder. We have a data word, that is A0, A1, A2, A3, and these all bits are passed through this generator, and the generator will generate a parity bit here, that is R0, and this R0 is appended to the data word. Okay, once we append it, we are generating a code word here. That is, then the point here is how we people are generating this the parity bit. At the sender side, we people are performing the arithmetic modulo 2 operation. That is a simple arithmetic modulo 2 operation. I need to add all these 4 bits here. That is A0 plus A1 plus A2 plus A3, and whatever the result we people are getting, that is nothing but a parity bit. Okay, I need to append this parity bit to the data word. Once you append it, we people are generated the code word here. Once we have a code word, we need to transmit that information over a unreliable channel. Once the destination receives that information, the destination receives this code word. Either it may be a correct one or it may become a corrupt in the passage here. The receiver forwards all these bits, including this parity bit, through the checker here. The checker will compute the syndrome. Okay, even here at the receiver side, I need to pass all these bits here. That is nothing but we people are performing the same operation, that is a arithmetic operation, that is a modulo 2 operation we people are performing. The B0 bit, that is a B0 plus B1 plus B2 plus B3 plus Q0. All these bits are passed through these checkers, and we people are performing a arithmetic modulo operation here. And here we people are computing the syndrome here. Okay, and this syndrome is fed to the decision logic. Now the decision logic has to take a certain actions. If the syndrome bit is equal to 0, on that case it extract the data terms, that is a A0 bit, A1 bit, A2 bit and A3 bit from the received code word here. Otherwise it discards the received data here. Let us look at some examples here. Let us look at some transmission scenario. Assume that sender sends the data word 1011. The code word created from this data word is 10111, which is sent to the receiver. We people are trying to go through these 5 cases. When no error occurs, the received code word is 10111. The syndrome is 0 here. Okay, that is nothing but I need to add all these bits here. That is a Q0 bit, B1, B2, B3 and B4 bit. Okay, here we people are getting syndrome as a 0 here. The data word 1011 is extracted or created. A one single bit error occurs, that is a A1. Okay, that is this A1 bit is in error. Okay, instead of receiving this information, that is a 10111, the destination receives 10011. The syndrome is, if you add all these terms, we people get the result as a 1. That is a syndrome as a 1 here. No data word is created. A one single bit error changes R0. For example, this R0 bit, that is the parity that we have added, that is a corrupt here. Okay, on that case, even if you add all these bits, we people get a syndrome as a 1 here. No data word is extracted. Here error changes R0 and second error changes the A3 bit. The parity bit is the corrupt one and the A3 bit is also corrupted here. What code word we people have received? 00110 here. If I add all these bits here, still we people get a syndrome, that is a 0. On that case, I am incorrectly extracting this data word, that is a 0011 here. Okay, that is a wrong interpretation here. Okay, by mistake, that is because your coding may not able to detect this kind of errors. The fifth case, that is a 3 bits, that is A3 bit, A2 bit and A1 bit is affected. Okay, because of that reason, what we people are receiving here, that is a 01011. Suppose if I add all these bits here, we people will get a syndrome as a 1. The data word is not created here. On that is the decision logic. Because of the syndrome value is 1. The decision logic simply discards the content here. Okay, if you look at all these scenario, we can simply say that whatever the simple parity check code we have, that simply detects odd number of errors. Okay, according to the definition, we have the simple parity check that has a smallest Hamming distance. That coding scheme has a Hamming distance of 2 here. In the sense, according to the definition, it should and must detect a 1 bit error. Okay, but if you look at these cases, the simple parity check can be used to detect odd number of errors. All Hamming codes, another approach we people are using here, that is instead of sending the data, we can organize them into rows and columns, and we can compute the parity, okay, row wise as well as the column wise here. Okay, if you add all these terms, we are getting the parity bit row wise, and if you add these all bits column wise, the last row deals with the parity that is associated with the terms in that particular column here, and we people are sending this whole chunk to the destination machine. Okay, even we people are able to identify certain errors here. Even for example, suppose a single bit error occurs. On that case, this can affect this particular bit position as shown in the arrow mark, as well as this particular bit is affected. This particular bit is affected. suppose a 2-bit error occurs. On that case, if you add all these terms, on that case the parity bit is affected in this particular two columns here. Okay, maybe we may not able to identify the detection from this row side. Okay, but the columns that simply identifies that these 2 bits are corrupted here. The next one, we have a 3-bit. Whenever a 3-bit error occurs, that can affect the row as well as the column parities. Okay, row parity as well as the column parities. Even we can easily detect a 3-bit errors. When it comes to 4-bit errors, on that case we may not able to detect these errors. Okay. The next one, we have a cyclic codes. Cyclic codes are a spatial linear block codes, okay, with one extra property. In a cyclic code, if a code word is cyclically shifted, that is rotated, the result is another code word. Okay. Here we have we people are going to discuss one approach, that is a cyclic redundancy check codes. Okay, here we people are using a 4-bit data word, and we people are generating a code word of size 7 bits. Okay, that is a notation we people are using, that is C for 7 4 here. Okay, we have a 7-bit code word and a 4-bit data word we have. When it comes to this particular the concept, the sender and a receiver have a k-bit data word. Listen carefully. The sender and a receiver are using this divisor, that is a m-bit divisor, that is shared between these two parties ahead of a time. Now we have a k-bit data word. First we need to increase the size of this data word by appending zeros here. Okay, that is nothing but I need to append m-1 zeros to it. Okay, we have a k-bit data word, we have a n-bit data word, and we people are generating a n-bit a code word. Okay, n-bit a code word, where the n is equal to k plus m-1, where m is nothing but the size of this divisor. First, what we need to do, I need to increase the size of this data word by appending the number of zeros to it. How many zeros we need to append? That is m-1 bits. After that, we need to fed that information through the generator. The generator performs the division operation, that is we people are performing the modulo 2 division operation, and we people are getting certain reminder, and those reminder bits are added to the data word, that is appended to the data word. Once you append these a reminder to the data word, we people are creating the code word here. Listen carefully. We have a k-bit data word, we have a m-bit divisor, and we people are generating n-bit code word, where n is equal to k plus m-1. And whenever we perform the division operation, you people will get a m-1 bit reminder, and that reminder is appended to the data word here. In that fashion, we people are generating the code word here. Once we have once we create the code word, we people are sending that information to the destination. Once our destination receives that code word, it passes through that checker. It passes all these bits through this checker. The checker performs the same division operation, that is modulo 2 division operation, okay, and computes the syndrome here. That is a syndrome, that is a reminder at the destination side. We simply call them as a syndrome. That is a S0 bit, S1 bit and S2 bit, okay, and these syndrome bits are passed through a decision logic. If the syndrome bits are 0, that is the reminder at the destination side is 0, on that case we people are extracting the data words from it, that is the data bits from the received code word, that is A0 bit, A1 bit, A2 bit and A3 bit, okay. Here the destination receives the code word, it passes that information through the checker. The checker performs the division operation, that is a modulo 2 operation we people are performing, that is a division modulo 2 operation we people are performing, and it computes the syndrome, that is a m-1 bit syndrome we people are getting, and those bits are passed through this decision logic. That is, if we receive 0 as a reminder at the destination side, the data bits are extracted here. Otherwise, we need to discard the received code word here. Or in some cases, the received information becomes the corrupt one. That is, the destination receive the information that is a corrupted, and whenever you pass through that information, still we receive the 0. On that case, we may not, that is, this particular coding approach may not able to, or coding method may not able to detect those type of errors, okay, detect those type of errors. For example, I am using the divisor value as a 2, and you have sent a data word 4 here, okay. The destination receives a 6, whatever the data we people have sent, that is a 4, that is corrupted, and it reaches the destination as a 6 here, okay. On that case, when you perform a division operation on it, still we people are getting 0 as a reminder. On that case, we people are incorrectly extracting some sort of a wrong data from it. We will go through this example, how we people are performing this division operation, and how we people are computing this code word. Consider we have a data word 1001, and we have a divisor that is a 1011. First, I need to increase this size of this data word by appending the number of zeros. How many zeros I need to append? m-1 zeros. What is the m value? The size of this the divisor value, that is 4 here. I need to append 3 zeros to it. Now my augmented data word becomes 1001 000, and here we people are performing the division operation. If the leftmost bit is a 1, then only we people are using this divisor value. Otherwise, we people are using 0 as a divisor value. Okay, the leftmost bit is a 1. On that case, I am using this divisor value, that is a 1011. We people need to perform bitwise the XOR operation here. Okay, in each stage we need to perform this the XOR operation. On that case, we people are getting 0 1 0. We people are taking the next bit, that is a 0 bit. Here the leftmost bit is a 0 here. On that case, I am using 0 as a divisor value. Here we people are getting 1 0 0. The next here I am taking the next 0 bit. Here the leftmost bit is a 1 here. For that purpose, I am dividing this value by using this divisor value. 1 0 1 1. Okay. What solution we people are getting here? That is a 0 1 1 here. The next we need to take the last bit here. Here the leftmost bit is a 0 here. On that case I need to use a 0 as the divisor value. Okay. Here we people are getting a m minus 1 bit a reminder, that is a 110 here. I need to append this reminder to the data word, that is a 1001, the reminder portion, that is a S0 bit, S1 bit, S2 bit. Okay. Or you can say that R0, R1, R2, R0, R1, R2 here. Okay. Now we have generated the code word, that is a 1001 110, and this particular code word is sent to the destination. The destination also performs the division operation. Okay, performs the same division operation, and if you get a 0 as a reminder at the destination side, we simply call this one as a syndrome. If you receive 0 as a reminder at the destination side, on that case we can say that the data, the received code word is a correct one, and here we people are extracting 1001 from it. Okay, this particular scenario in the second portion, this last bit becomes the this particular bit is a corrupted here, that is 1000. Okay, we have sent a 1 here, instead of 1 we are receiving a 0 here, 110. On that case, once you perform a division operation, we people are getting 011 as a syndrome here. Okay, on that case I need to discard the received code word here. One of the advantage of this CRC is we can implement this a CRC by using a hardware. I would like to leave this particular section, that is a hardwired design of a CRC implementation to you people as a exercise. The next one, we have a polynomial. Better way to understand cyclic codes and how they can be analyzed is to represent them as a polynomial. Okay, here a pattern of zeros and ones can be represented as a polynomial with a coefficient of a 0 and a 1 here. The power of each term shows the position of the bit, and the coefficient shows the value of the bit here. Here we have a data bits, and we people are representing this information by using the polynomial. Okay, x to the power 0, x to the power 1, x to the power 2, x to the power 3, x to the power 4, x to the power 5, and x to the power 6 here. Okay, we have a coefficient. This one is a coefficient of x to the power 0. This one is a coefficient of x to the power 1. This 0 is a coefficient of x to the power 2. This 0 is a coefficient of x to the power 3, and so on. Okay, you can use the short form, that is x to the power 6 plus x plus 1 here. We people are performing a certain operation on this polynomial. That is how we people are performing addition and subtraction. Okay, when it comes to addition and subtraction, if you have identical terms, their coefficients are added together. Okay, when it comes to this modulo 2 division operation, we people are having certain different approach here. Whenever we people are having the identical terms, on that case we need to delete a pair of identical terms here. Suppose, for example, we have a x to the power 5 plus x to the power 4 plus x to the power 2 here. Another polynomial expression we have x to the power 6 plus x to the power 4 plus x to the power 2. Here we have a x to the power 4 we have a identical term here. Okay, pair of identical term here. On that case, this we people need to cancel out this x to the power 4 term here. We people are getting a result as a x to the power 6 plus x to the power 4. Suppose if you have another polynomial expression that is a x to the power 2 here, on that case we people are getting 3 terms, that is a x to the power 2 in a first expression, the x to the power 2 in a second expression, and x to the power 2 in the third expression. On that case, this x to the power 2, x to the power 2 cancel out each other, and we people are getting another the term that is a x to the power 2. On that case, the result becomes x to the power 6 plus x to the power 5 plus x to the power 2 here. How we people are performing a multiplication and a division, that is a x to the power 3 is multiplied with a x to the power 4 here. That is nothing but we need to add these the powers, okay, of this particular term, that is a x to the power 3 plus 4, that is nothing but a x to the power 7 here. In the same manner, we people are performing a division, that is x to the power 5 divided by x to the power 2, that is equal to x to the power 3. Or whenever we perform, for example, x divided by x to the power 2, on that case we can say that x to the power minus 1. When it comes to in this particular scenario, we people are not at all using the terms with the negative powers. Even we people have already know how we people are performing the multiplication of these two terms. This first term, that is a first term of the first polynomial expression, is multiplied with all terms of a second polynomial expression, and so on and so forth. Okay, and here when it comes to simplifying, we need to identify the pair of identical pairs, and we need to discard them. As a solution, as a result, we people are getting this particular expression, that is x to the power 7 plus x to the power 6 plus x to the power 3 plus x here. And here we people are, when it comes to performing a division operation by a polynomial, on that case we can easily accomplish this particular mechanism by using this shifting mechanism. That is the division operation we people are performing, dividing one polynomial expression with another term here. Shifting to the left, for example, we have this particular data word 10011. Okay, suppose if I shift it to the left side by 3 bits, this information becomes a 10011 This information can be represented by x to the power 4 plus x to the power plus x plus 1. This particular expression is multiplied by x to the power 3 here. That is nothing but a x to the power 7 plus x to the power 4 plus x cube. How we people are shifting it to the right side? We need to discard the rightmost bit position here. Okay, shifting it to the right side, we have a data word 10011, that becomes 10. Okay, we need to discard the the rightmost 3 bits here. The same information can be represented by using a polynomial expression, that is a data word is represented as a x to the power 4 plus x plus 1. When you shift it to the right side by 3 bits, I need to divide this term by x cube. Okay, on that case we will receive x here. That is, when it comes to this second term, x divided by x cube and 1 divided by x cube, we get some sort of a negative powers. We need to discard them. Here we people are getting x as a solution here. We people are performing, we go through the same example how the polynomial can be used to compute a code word here. Okay, in the previous example we people have used this particular term, that is the data word is a 1001 and the divisor value is a 1011, and these two terms are represented by using a polynomial expression here. X to the power 3 plus x plus 1 here, that is a divisor value, and this is the augmented data word we have, that is nothing but a wait here, okay, listen, we have a data word that is a 1001,000, okay, x to the power 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, x to the power 7 plus x to the power 0 1 2 3 4 5 6, sorry, x to the power 6 plus x to the power 3 we people are getting. After appending zeros, once you augment it, what augmented data word we people are getting here? 1001000. This particular information can be represented by using the polynomial expression, that is x to the power 6 plus x to the power 3 here. Okay, suppose the division operation we people are performing here, okay, by using this divisor, x to the power 3 plus x plus 1. Okay, first we need to divide this first term, okay, so that we will get the first term for the quotient. X to the power 3 is multiplied with x to the power 3, so that we will get a x to the power 6 here, okay, so that we will get the first term that is a part of a quotient here. The remaining terms are multiplied with this first term, x to the power 6 plus x to the power 4 plus x cube. Here these identical pairs are cancelled out, x to the power 6, x to the power 6 are cancelled out, x to the power 3, x to the power 3 are cancelled out, and we have a left with a x to the power 4. Okay, the next one, plus I need to divide this particular term now. We people are getting a second term that is a part of, that is going to be part of your quotient here. Okay, this x cube is multiplied by the x here, so that we will get a term called x to the power 4 here, x to the power 4 plus x to the power 2 plus x. On that case, we people are getting remainder as a x to the power 2 plus x. Okay, that is at the source side, and I need to append this data to the data word. On that case, we people are generating the code word that is as a x to the power 6 plus x to the power 3, x to the power 2 plus x. That is a code word we people are generating. Okay, the destination also performs the same division operation, and if it receives a 0 as a reminder, on that case it extract the data word from it. When it comes to the CRC, the divisor in a cyclic code is normally called as the generator polynomial, or simply the generator. Listen carefully, we people have gone through this particular CRC. Whenever the destination receives some sort of a corrupt information, it performs the division operation. If it suppose if it receives 0 as a solution, on that case I need to extract the data word from it. In some cases, maybe that received code word is a corrupt one, and whenever we perform a division operation, even we people are getting a 0 as a reminder. On that case, we people incorrectly extract some sort of a wrong information from it. So we people are trying to represent these data words as well as the generator polynomial code word by using a function called f of x. Okay, here the data word represented by d of x, the code word c of x, generator g of x, the syndrome s of x, error e of x. In a cyclic code, if a s of x is not equal to 0, one or more bits are corrupted. That is by the definition we can say. If a s of x is equal to 0, in that case we people are getting these two possible cases. The first one, the data is a correct one. Another case, some of the bits are corrupt, but we may not able to detect it. Okay, the first case, no bit is corrupted. The second case, some bits are corrupted but may not able to detect them. If you look at this particular expression, that is the received code word consists, that is a code word plus the error information. Okay, suppose the destination performs the division operation by using this the generator polynomial or a generator. Okay, that is c of x is divided by g of x, e of x is also divided by a g of x here. By the definition, c of x divided by g of x should and must return a 0, and we people are getting another term e of x divided by g of x. If a g of x divides this e of x term completely, on that case we may not able to detect the error here. Suppose if may not able to if a g of x may not divide this e of x completely, on that case we can easily detect the errors here. In a cyclic code, those e of x error are that are divisible by g of x are not caught here. If the suppose if you have a single bit error, on that case, if you look at this particular scenario, how we people are representing this information. I am representing this information by using a polynomial expression. Okay, that is for example, if I am defining my error function, that is e of x, this particular one bit is corrupted. On that case, I am just trying to define which particular bit position is a corrupt one. Based on that, I am defining my e of x. If the second bit is a corrupt one, on that case my e of x is nothing but a x to the power 2. If 2 bits are corrupted, on that case I can say that if the second and the third bit position are a corrupt one, on that case I can say that e of x equal to x to the power 2 plus x to the power 3 here. When it comes to detecting the single bit error, okay, here we people are very much interested in what kind of the generator polynomial we should and must use here. If you have a single bit error, on that case my e of x function can be defined as a e of x equal to x to the power I. Just to detect this single bit error, we should and must have the generator in such a way that you should and must have more terms, and we have another term that is a x naught, and the coefficient of x naught should and must be 1 here. On that case, you can easily detect all the single bit error. Okay, if the generator has more than 1 terms and the coefficient of x naught is a 1, all single bit errors can be detected. Which of the following g of x value guarantees that a single bit error is caught? For each case, what is the error that cannot be caught here? X to the power 1, that is a first one, x to the power 3, the third one is a 1 here. Okay, when it comes to the first one, no xi can be divisible by x plus 1 here. Any single bit can be caught. If I is equal, when it comes to this particular generator, if I value is equal or greater than 3, on that case the xi is divisible by g of x. On that case we may not able to detect these errors. You can easily detect the errors from whenever this I value varies from 0 to 2. That is, x to the power 1 you cannot divide by x cube, x to the power 2 you cannot divide by x cube, and so on. Okay, here the problem is when a third bit is a corrupt one, that is x to the power 3 divided by x to the power 3. On that case you can completely divide that particular term here. Okay, for that purpose you may not able to detect that kind of a error. This particular one, for any value, okay, if that ith bit all values of I makes xi divisible by g of x, no single bit error can be detected by using this polynomial generator value. Here we people are interested to detect two isolated bit errors. Okay, here we have two bits that are corrupted, that can be denoted by xi. This ith bit is a corrupt one, and this jth bit is also corrupt one, that can be defined by xj. And my e of x is I'm trying to define this e of x as a x of j plus x of I here. Okay, and this j minus I simply gives us the length here. That is the difference between these 2-bit errors. Suppose if I take a xi as a common, on that case I am getting x to the power j minus I plus 1. Okay, suppose if my generator polynomial has a more terms, and if that x naught, if the coefficient of a x naught is a x naught term is a 1, on that case the xi term cannot be x to the power I cannot be completely divisible by the polynomial, the generator, and we have a left with this second term, that is x to the power j minus I plus 1. And here we people are very much interested. If a generator cannot divide this x to the power t, okay, that t is nothing but a j minus I here. Okay, x to the power t plus 1. If a t varies between 0 and n minus 1, then all isolated a double error can be detected here. Okay, the next one we have how we people are going to identify the odd number of errors. Okay, we have the generator polynomial. For example, in this particular case, consider we have this divisor value x to the power 3 plus x plus 1. Suppose if you take x plus 1 as a common factor from this divisor value, on that case you people are able to detect all odd number of errors. The fourth one, how we people are going to detect the number of errors, that is a burst error. Okay, that burst error can be defined by using the expression. For example, that burst error can be defined by expression, that is e of x equal to x to the power j plus x to the power j plus 1, so on and so forth up to x to the power I here. Based on the divisor value, maybe you people are having the polynomial expression, that is x to the power r plus x to the power r minus 1 and so on and so forth up to 1. On that case, we people are trying to identify this burst error with certain probability. Okay, all burst error with a L value less or equal to r will be detected. All burst error with a L equal to r plus 1 will be detected with a probability of 1 minus 1 by 2 to the power r minus 1. All burst errors with a L value that is a greater than r plus 1 will be detected with a probability of 1 minus 1 by 2 by r here. Okay, these are some points that are associated with how we people are selecting the polynomial. A good polynomial generator needs to have the following characteristics. It should have at least 2 terms. The second one, the coefficient of x, the term x naught, x to the power 0 should be 1. It should not divide x to the power t plus 1 for a interval, that is for an interval between 2 and n minus 1. It shouldn't must have the factor x plus 1 here. These are some of the standard polynomial codes we people are using in these different network applications. Okay, CRC 8 that is used in a ATM header, a CRC 10 in ATM AAL, CRC 16 HDLC, CRC 32 we people are using in LANs. We people are going to discuss a checksum in the next session. Thank you.